Whatever happened to Nick Rewind? Well, in short answer, it basically turned up to Paramount Plus, but we'll get to that a bit later. So back in 2011, I believe it was, there was a block on Teenick. It was kind of like an Adult Swim type of thing, like, you know, it came on late at night. Well, it started at midnight. It's funny, it was one night I was channel surfing, I came across it. It was, All That at Midnight, Keenan and Kel at 12:30, Clarissa Explains It All, I think, at 1, and then Doug at 1:30. I think that's what the block was. And it was actually, you'd have Kenan Thompson cutting promos and stuff. And it was funny, you know, there was like quite a bit behind it. Like, I mean, they would change the block here and there. And, you know, there was like a Facebook page and probably something on Twitter. I don't know. I left Twitter like over 3 years ago. I never looked back. But that's beside the point. You know, and they had like Instagram and everything. Like, at least I think they had Instagram at the time. I don't know. Anyway, but I know they had a Facebook page. And, you know, they would change the lineup a bit here and there. At one point, they had a Friday night thing with, like, it was hosted by Stick Stickley, and you could, like, vote for what shows were going to be on there. Yeah, like, I remember the Facebook page was very active for quite a few years, actually. You know, people were posting things on there, like, hey, remember this show, remember that show? Like, some people used to post, like, fun little, just make these little, like, quiz things about, like, 90s Nickelodeon shows and things like that. I remember there was somebody on there who would, you know, back when Nintendo had the eShop, there was somebody who used to post on there, like, hey, these games were just added to the virtual console or whatever, which was kind of random, but hey, whatever. I think it was, you know, so like I said, the block, and it was actually, it was technically a 4-hour block, if you will, because it was like, you know, like I said, they played the 4 shows, and then they would play them again at like 2 in the morning, like an encore type of thing, until 4 in the morning. And at one point, they expanded the block, so it would start at 10 o'clock, you know, and then run till like 2, and then they do like an encore till 6 a.m. or whatever. And it was, I believe, I want to say 2015 or 2016. It actually, they changed the block. Well, they changed the name to the Splat, which honestly I think this was like the best era of it. You know, they used the whole iconic Splat logo and everything. And they actually started a YouTube channel where they would put like just little clips from like 90s Nickelodeon shows and stuff. And like I said, I think this was like the best era. I think this was also when around the time they expanded the block a bit. I think, I could be wrong, it might have been before that, but and then it was I think it was either 2017 or 2018. It started to change. Well, even before this, like, the block would get a bit stale at times. It was funny. It was like, because, like, when you go back to the original block, let me back up a bit. It was funny because, like, Kenan and Kel was only 4 seasons, you know, ran from 96 to 2000. So when they went through all the episodes, it would basically just re-air them again and again. Like, it was like kind of like a loop. So people complained that the show was, you know, re-airing so much, so to speak, or the same episodes were just going like in a circle, like I said, like a hamster wheel kind of thing, a big long hamster wheel. So at one point they added Rugrats to the block, and it was because that show ran for like over a decade, you know, so naturally it wouldn't be as big a circle. It would be a much bigger circle than Kenan and Kel. It wouldn't like re-air the same episodes as frequently. But then people complained that like they're playing episodes from the 2000s. I was like, can't win. But granted, the block did get lazy at times, especially towards like the end of this block's lifespan. But like I said, we'll get into that more later. And it was, like I said, I think it was 2017, 2018. It was changed from the Splat to Nick Splat. And this is where the block really started kind of going like up and down. Like it was like, I don't know, it was just wasn't as good. The YouTube channel was entirely different. Like they started uploading stuff from the 2000s shows, which is fine. Like, I personally, I mean, the 2000s was like my teenage years and like early 20s and stuff, but I still watched Nickelodeon. There was still quite a few shows in there I enjoyed. Even, like whether a show is good or bad is really just a matter of opinion. I mean, there are shows from Nickelodeon that were very popular in the 90s that I wasn't a fan of. Like, I mean, two shows from the 90s that were very popular that I personally wasn't a fan of, and this is when I was a kid. Even as an adult, I tried watching them, and I was like, and those were Guts and Hey Dude. Like, very popular shows. I just wasn't really a fan. It doesn't mean they're bad or anything. It wasn't really my thing. Same with like some of the 2000s stuff, like Zoe 101. That was very popular. Wasn't really a fan. Like, that's just one example, but there are others. But getting back to the point, I liked a lot of the 2000 shows. Like there were still some great shows on there, like Adventures of Jimmy Neutron, My Life as a Teenage Robot, which was very underrated. Drake and Josh, Nez Declassified School Survival Guide, the 2000s, all that was pretty good. And that's just a handful, but it's funny. There's two types of people I don't understand that are so like. One is the ones that are just completely biased, that are like nope, the Nickelodeon was only good from 91 to 99, but then it's like, Hey Arnold came out in 96, Cat Dog and Wild Thornberrys came out in 98, and both those shows ran into the 2000s. Does that mean they were suddenly not good? I mean, Hey Arnold, like, I think it's like one of the best shows to come out of that network. And like, some of the later final episodes from the 2000s were great episodes, like the Ghost Bride episode. That's a great episode. Very dark, with like quite a few episodes of Harold the Dark, but that's beside the point. But that was a good episode. And that came out in like 2003, I believe, maybe 2002, 2003, something like that. And that was, I'm pretty sure the 2000s when we saw the whole origin of Donnie and. From Wild Thornberrys, like you learned about his past. You met Cat Dog's parents. That was 2003, I believe, 2002, 2003, whatever. The other thing is people that are just like gatekeepers. Like if, I don't know, you're on like some kind of forum or something and somebody was like, yeah, I was born in 87. I was born in like 97 or 99, 98, whatever. But I love Rocko's Modern Life and Doug, and people are like, nope, you didn't grow up with these shows in their prime. You can't watch them. And it's like, okay, so you're mad because this person is praising the shows, the classic shows, but then if it was the opposite, and they said like, oh, those shows suck, the 2001s are better, then you'd be like, oh yeah, typical Zoomer, you like the more recent stuff, like. What? Is that what I'm saying? But getting back to the whole Nick Splat thing. So like I said, they're uploading stuff from the 2000s, which was fine. Like as I did both 90s and 2000s. Then it was another year or so, like somewhere like 2018, 2019, whatever. The block was changed to Nick Rewind. And that was where things kind of started going downhill. The block was getting a lot lazier. The Facebook page, it was, I guess you could say, on life support. It's been inactive since like January, I think. The YouTube channel was just really going downhill. Like, they started uploading stuff in the 2010s, which... Again, there was a couple of good, at least in my opinion, there was a few good shows in the 2010s, but it was weird, because like I said, this was 2018, 2019, it's like, we're still in the 2010s, so, and like, then that's pretty much like they just started focusing on that. They did they started doing less and less of the 2000s stuff. They did barely any of the 90s stuff, and that was pretty much like, if you go look at the Nick Rewind YouTube channel, I guarantee you the past 5 uploads are like shows from the 2010s. And it's like, that wasn't really that old of a decade. Like, what happened to all the 2000s and 90s stuff, you know? Like, again, like, 2010s had some good shows, but like, the 90s and 2000s were way better. Like, honestly, I think it's like the 90s was the golden era. 2000s was good, you know, was great as well. 2010s, okay, but it was kind of where things started to go downhill. So it's like, and I remember there was a time when they uploaded, you know, like some, you know, a lot of channels would do that, like, that community thing where they'll just post, like, a GIF or a meme or whatever. You know, it was like they posted a GIF of a cat, or Ariana Grande, you know, cat from Victorious, like, doing some weird thing. It was a thing, it was on a Wednesday, and they just did something about how Wednesday is, like, the middle of the week, you know, type of thing, like, and then the following week, they posted the exact same thing, you know, the GIF of cat with the exact same caption. I don't remember what it was, but I remember it was the exact same caption, and somebody hit the nail on the head. They were like, I was like, you posted this exact same thing last week. You're literally just using Ariana for clout. They're not wrong. But, yeah, so then, towards the end of, Nick, I think it was about a little over a year ago that the block just, you know, because it was 2021 when the streaming service CBS All Access, or something like that, changed the name to Paramount Plus. And they added a ton of Nickelodeon shows, like, which I remember my friend telling me about it, and I was like, alright, you got my attention. And actually, I it's funny, I remember ever since, like, the 2000s, I think, or, like, late 2000s, I was like, they need to make, like, a 24/7 90s, I mean, well, not just 90, but, like, nostalgia Nickelodeon channel. So then when the whole 90s or all that thing started, you know, then it became the Splat and so on, and I was like, oh, maybe this is just the beginning, and eventually we'll get something. Well, instead, we got the whole Paramount Plus thing, which, honestly, I kind of like that better, personally. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still, even though, like, TV is pretty much dying, I barely watch TV, you know, I'm sure a lot of you are the same way. And, you know, part of me still wouldn't mind seeing, like, a 24/7 nostalgia Nick channel, but I kind of like the Paramount Plus thing, because it's like you can watch whatever you want, whenever you want, like any streaming service. Granted, there are some shows missing on there. I mean, you got the classics, like pretty much, like every show, all the Nicktoons that are on my shirt right here, those are all on there. You have all that, Keenan and Kel, Clarissa Explains It All, Legends of the Hidden Temple, Hey Dude, and Nick Arcade, Guts. You know, 2000s, you got My Life as a Teenage Robot, Danny Phantom, Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, iCarly, Zoe 101, Ned's Declassified, Drake and Josh. Yeah, but there's more too. But and they are still missing some of the classics, like, you know, there's no Adventures of Pete and Pete, Secret World of Alex Mack, My Brother and Me, The Mystery Files of Shelby Woo, Space Cases, Figure It Out, The Journey of Alan Strange, the 2000s, all that, Unfabulous, H2O, Just Add Water, Mr. Meaty, well, nobody really cares about that show, but, Brain Surge, you know, like, so, a lot on there, but there's still some missing. Also, one other thing I want to mention is that, I want to give a shout out to the channel called Rinse Repeat. I came across this a while ago. It's a channel that does, like, these basically old Saturday morning cartoon blocks, well, TV show kids blocks, we'll put it that way. You know, they do, like, compilation videos of, like, blocks from, like, you know, Fox Kids, CBS Kids, ABC Kids. It's funny when you look back, it's like, wow, I forgot how many of these blocks there were back then. You know, mostly 90s, there's a couple of 2000s one as well. You know, and it's like, they do, like, the show, you know, be like, because most of these blocks were, like, 4 hours, you know, because it was Saturday morning, it's, like, 8 a.m. to noon. You know, it'll be, like, so it's, like, 8 shows, and then you have, like, all the commercial breaks, along with, like, the in between things, like you know, we'll be back after these messages and stuff. They're really well made. You know, it's like I said, I'll have a link to the channel in the description. You know, it's worth checking out. Like, if whether you grew up in the '90s or not, you know, it's quite a trip. It's like opening a time capsule, basically. What was I gonna say? But, or like I said, even if these were before your time, it's nice and go back and see what you missed. Or hey, it's something to share with your kids or your nieces and nephews and stuff. So that's just kind of my whole take on the whole Nick Rewind thing. May it rest in peace. But until next time, thanks for watching, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of the week.